Hello, my sisters and brothers. What a joy it is to be here in the presence of God with you for another Bible study. Today, we are going to study a verse that deals with true friendship. It highlights that when two people are together, they can help each other in times of difficulty. If one falls, the other will be there to lift them up. Let's understand the historical context of this passage and how these words remain alive and relevant to this day. Let's go together into this moment of peace and spiritual enrichment. Let's begin the study. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. The lands of ancient Israel were marked by winding paths, vast deserts, and a topography that demanded much more than just physical effort. It demanded survival. When we look at the words of Solomon, the likely author of this wisdom, we are not merely reading advice on social etiquette or casual friendships. We are facing a life strategy grounded in a reality where isolation was often a silent death sentence. In those days, traveling from one city to another involved crossing arid regions, facing extreme thermal variations, and the constant danger of bandits or wild animals. The lone traveler was an easy target, someone whose margin for error was non-existent. If a man stumbled in a ravine or was injured on an isolated trail, the silence of the desert would be his only companion until his breath ran out. The idea that two have a better return for their labor reflects the subsistence economy and the manual toil of that period. In the field, in construction, or in nomadic trade, a man's strength was limited by his own biology. But by joining forces, productivity did not just double, it expanded in an extraordinary way. There was a synergy that allowed for the carrying of burdens that an individual alone could never lift. This good return, mentioned in the biblical text, speaks of the wisdom of dividing the weight to multiply the reach. In the context of caravans, for example, the work of keeping watch during the night was shared, allowing for real rest and constant progress. The presence of a companion provided the security necessary so that the mind would not succumb to fatigue or the fear of the unknown lurking in the darkness of the trade routes. The warning about the danger of being alone takes on dramatic tones when we understand that, in Hebrew culture, a person's identity was deeply linked to their people and their family. Isolation was not seen as a lifestyle choice, but as a tragedy or a consequence of a spiritual exile. The text shows us that falling is a statistical certainty of the human journey. It is not a matter of if we will fall, but when it will happen. The sacred author uses the image of the companion who lifts the other up to illustrate that God's grace often manifests through the hands of those who walk beside us. It is a reminder that self-sufficiency is a dangerous illusion that makes us vulnerable at the very moment our strength fails. Historically, this passage also resonates with the need for mutual protection against the cold of the nights on the Judean plateaus. Two bodies together generated the heat necessary for survival under the stars, where the temperature dropped drastically. This physical image of warming one another overflows into the spiritual and emotional realm, suggesting that the warmth of faith and encouragement is kept burning through contact with others. Loneliness chills the heart, makes the vision blurry, and the path heavier. When the text says, "Pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up," it echoes a lament for those who, out of pride or circumstance, try to face the battles of existence without a shield by their side, without an ear that listens, and without a shoulder to support the weight of adversity. This ancient wisdom teaches us that the ennoblement of the human being occurs in the encounter. In Solomon's time, the social structure was the pillar of resistance against invasions and famine. Today, That same structure translates into the need to have someone who knows our weaknesses and who, at the moment of our stumble, does not judge us by the dust on our clothes, but extends a hand so that we can continue the march. The friendship described here is a covenant of destiny, a commitment that no one will be left behind. It is the understanding that the spiritual journey is not a competition of speed, but a walk of faithfulness and support, where the greatest victory is not arriving first, but arriving accompanied and strengthened by the presence of those whom God placed in our path to be our sentinel and our brother. That sentinel, that brother who walks by your side, is not a fluke of fate but a providence from above, so that your breath does not run out on the steep climbs of existence. When we understand that our strength is multiplied through connection, the weight of our dreams ceases to be a lonely burden and becomes a shared life project. Living this truth in practice means looking around and recognizing that God places people in our path not just to see us win, but to be the support where we rest our weakness. In everyday life, this translates into that word of encouragement when fatigue knocks at the door, or that advice that brings clarity when our own vision is blurred by worries. Real optimism is not born from the certainty that we will never face problems, but from the security that, at the moment difficulty arises, there will be an outstretched arm ready to keep us standing. You need to understand that self-sufficiency is an arid desert that limits your growth, while fellowship is the fertile soil where your talents can fully flourish. Imagine the joy of achieving a goal and having someone celebrate with the same intensity as you. That is the good return that Solomon described. When we share our victories, they expand. When we share our sorrows, they are cut in half. This is the divine mathematics that challenges the logic of the modern world, which so often pushes us toward isolated and cold competition. To be that mentor to yourself today is to decide to open your heart to the right alliances, allowing someone else's light to illuminate your blind spots while you also become the necessary support for your neighbor. It is a constant cycle of generosity and receiving that keeps the soul warm and the purpose constant before any storm. Often, the rush of daily life makes us forget that the grandest success is that which is built as a team, whether in family, work, or spiritual life. The presence of a faithful companion acts as a mirror that reminds us of who we truly are when circumstances try to label us by momentary failure. If today you feel tired or believe you need to carry the whole world on your shoulders, receive this teaching as a balm. You were not called to isolation. There is an extraordinary strength that springs from unity and allows you to reach places that alone would be mere distant mirages. Christian optimism teaches us that mutual support is God's method for keeping us steady and secure on the journey, ensuring that our song of gratitude is never sung in silence, but in chorus with those who love us. Every step you take, accompanied by someone who shares your values, is a step taken toward a life of abundance and peace. Do not close yourself off to the connections the Creator is sending. Sometimes, the answer to your prayer for help comes through an invitation to talk or a simple gesture of friendship. By strengthening your bonds, you are, in fact, strengthening your own resilience. It is time to value those who are in the trenches with you, recognizing that the greatest wealth is not in what we accumulate, but in who we keep by our side. Feel the heat of this truth warming your spirit and renewing your hopes, for the path ahead is lit by the promise that help will always be within reach. Now I invite you to silence the noise of the world and open your heart for a special moment of connection with the Most High. Let us speak with the one who is the friend par excellence, the one who gave us the greatest example of devotion and who desires to teach us to be for one another as He is for us. Let us unite our thoughts and our intentions now, seeking the Father's presence, so that He may seal the friendships in our lives and teach us to always walk in unity. Join me in this prayer, committing every companion and every need to God's care. Lord, Father of infinite goodness and source of all wisdom, we lift our thoughts and our spirits to you in this moment of deep communion. We thank you for your word, which spans across centuries and lights our paths, reminding us that we were not created to walk in solitude. We ask, O God, that you open our spiritual eyes so that we may recognize the sentinels you have placed by our side. Remove from us the pride that makes us believe we are self-sufficient, and grant us the humility needed to accept a brother's outstretched hand when our strength seems to fail. May we also be that support for others, having the sensitivity to notice someone else's stumble and the willingness to offer the shoulder that sustains and the heart that welcomes. Father, may the unity described in Ecclesiastes become the practical reality of our lives. Pour out your grace upon our friendships, our families, and all our relationships, so they may be guided by loyalty and shared purpose. May the warmth of your presence keep us warm during times of spiritual cold, and may the labor of our hands be multiplied by joint effort and harmony. We ask that you remove from our path all discord and all isolation that seeks to make us easy targets in life's journey. May we be one, just as you are one with us, and may our walk be marked by that great reward of having someone with whom to share the burden and celebrate the victory. Strengthen our commitment to never leave anyone behind, always walking under your protection and your constant love. Amen. We've reached the end of this study, and I want to thank you for staying until the very end. Did you know that most people who watch our videos aren't actually subscribed? Your subscription and like are essential for the health of this channel and for building our Bible study community together. If this word uplifted you, please subscribe, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who values this content. Comment Amen, so I know you made it this far. Your support truly makes a difference in continuing this mission. And remember, God is always with you.